Hello everyone, this is Yoshi reporting for Gamers Classified, and today I'm at the Brio Music Studio in Sydney, and I'm joined by special guest Nicholas Young, the pianist. Hi Nicholas, nice to meet you.
Thank you, nice to meet you and glad to be here.
Oh, thank you for joining us. So we're at Brio Music School. Can you tell us a little bit about this venue and what your relationship to it is?
Yeah, sure. Well, we're in the heart of the Brio School of Music in Chatswood. They have a very versatile set of studios here, primarily for teaching, but the Brio School of Music have very generously been supporting some of my activities and collaborations over the past few years, and this will be the principal rehearsal space for the upcoming Ocarina Concert.
That's exciting. So I hear that the music school has got an app coming out, is that correct?
That's right. The Brio group have been working on a very flash, sophisticated new app called YouBear. It's a bit of a platform for sharing music, for really celebrating music across a wide variety of genres. Your classical and jazz, but also your anime music and video game music. Music that really speaks to a lot of people who are learning instruments, who love music and love their anime and their games.
So speaking of video games, I hear that there's an Ocarina concert coming to Chatswood in a few weeks. Do you know anything about that?
Oh, I know a lot about that. It's something that's been in planning for quite some time now. This upcoming concert is called Ocarina, and it's a celebration of music by Koji Kondo, the very famous composer of Nintendo and for the Zelda series. This concert's celebrating music from the game, but also, in particular, the instrument itself, the ocarina. It's something that's come up a lot in pop culture, but I'm really taking this opportunity to celebrate this very unique instrument as well, and we're going to be having live performances featuring the instrument as well, so that's particularly exciting for myself.
So besides the ocarina, do you know what other musicians or music genres will be featured at this concert?
Ocarina is an extension of a collaboration that I began with the Consoles last year. The Consoles are one of Australia's leading video game jazz ensembles. It's quite a unique genre to be working in at the moment. They've done amazing things on YouTube, they've toured, they've just had some pretty breakthrough concerts in Japan. Some of the members are in fact based in Japan. And as it happens, a member of the group was an old high school friend of mine, and this collaboration was in a way reconnecting with some old friends as well and making some new ones. Among other things, we're also featuring Ryan Williams, a very prominent recorder player in Melbourne. He has done extensive work with experimental as well as classical, traditional classical repertoire. He'll be performing the ocarina solos for us, as well as integrating with the ensemble with his recorder expertise. And then the other key members are myself as the solo pianist, and finally Ensemble Francais, a classical ensemble that I'm involved with, a mixed ensemble made up of oboe, bassoon and piano. We'll also be inviting a couple of our other friends along as guests for this quite unique symphonic collaboration, which will be backed also by Brio strings, a string ensemble to really give it that grand sonorous feel.
Thank you, that sounds like quite a lineup. So if people wanted to purchase tickets, how can they do that?
Best place is to go to zeldalive.com, and there there'll be links and media, links to the ticketing page, and some information and a few behind the scenes snippets that we'll hope to fit into that.
Thank you, sounds interesting. And besides the Ocarina concert, do you have any other projects on the horizon?
Ocarina will be showing in Sydney on this Friday, 2nd of November. 8 p.m. It's a Friday night concert. It should be really exciting. And we've also just lined up our Melbourne show. So that's going to be taking place on Saturday, the 15th of December, 8 p.m. at the Malt House. It's quite a central venue. It's located in South Bank, which is just a stone's throw away from the city, the heart of the city. So it's a really exciting thing for all of us. It's quite a big collaboration, and we're really hoping for an evening of fun for everyone, really. Just everyone to celebrate Ocarina, celebrate Zelda. It's going to be exciting.
It definitely sounds like a fun night out. So, besides playing music, I noticed that you've also published some academic research and you've also presented at some conferences. Can you tell us a bit about that and if you have any publications or speaking engagements coming up?
Well, I'm a classically trained pianist, and that's still my bread and butter, so to speak. I perform across Australia, doing traditional recitals as well as more contemporary or modern performances. I premiere and commission composers working in especially Melbourne and Sydney, but also occasionally from across the country, all around the world. I'm really passionate about bringing the piano forward into the future. Breaking new ground, making new discoveries, but also celebrating that core literature. And so that ties in also with a bit of research that I do, some of which has made it into a few journals. Thank you. I also run along the side Scintillations Music, which is the core agency producing this event. Scintillation Music is it's all about bringing music to as big an audience as possible. So that's not only your typical audience that goes to classical concerts or jazz gigs. It's really about widening how far music gets, whether that's in concert or in print. So I assist as well with small production elements to do with print publishing and website development, that sort of thing. It's all very much the mixed bag of tricks, and whatever I can assist in to help musicians, emerging or established, to keep the artistry moving forward and getting it to as many people as possible.
Thank you. So you mentioned breaking new ground. So with the Ocarina Concert, we have a contemporary soundtrack and we're using classical instruments to bring it to life. So where do you think the classical music industry will develop, go in the future?
That's a really interesting question. I think it's a really exciting time. It's a time of there are some troubles in certain sectors of the classical industry, but also a real opportunity there for evolution and I think moving ahead to I guess the modern era of the classical concert. It's classical instruments are I think some of the most beautiful things, and often the problem is that people may not quite understand at first how tough it is to play an instrument and how amazing it is when instrumentalists like the consoles, for example, when they do such incredible things on acoustic instruments. Now, granted, they have amplified instruments and keyboard synths as well, but the technique is still very much manual. It's all work from the fingers. It's very dexterity. Yeah, it's a bit of finger gymnastics. It's even in this world of automation, I think there's still such a special place for live performance that comes from training, from many long hours and years of dedication to something quite crazy. This idea of making sound out of an instrument, a block of wood, or something that takes time to develop. And so I think a lot of symphony orchestras, in fact, have also caught on to the idea that audiences are open to embracing the orchestra. And through things like film score concerts, live film concerts where the soundtracks are played by the orchestra, also video game concerts, both of these are really burgeoning fields at the moment. And I think this really is the way to attract a new audience. That's not to say that we won't still have the classical, your traditional recitals. Those are very important for us too, I feel. But in order to bring people into this very special ritual and form of entertainment, there's still a lot of work to be done to bring people into concerts.
So if people wanted to stay up to date with you and your concert dates, how can they find that information?
All of my individual work is on nicholasyoungpiano.com. The consoles are on theconsoles.com. Conbrio, who run the YouBear and Conbrio examinations, can be found on youbrio.com and conbrioexams.com. I think a quick Google and Facebook, Instagram search should direct audiences and listeners and fans to the right pages.
Well, Nicholas Young, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Yoshi.
We'll see you guys next time.